How is everyone doing today? It is August 20th of 2024 and I have a really cool pepper growing in our yard this season that I am super excited to show you guys. This is a pepper we have grown pretty consistently in the yard over the past 7, maybe even 8 years. It is called the Oda pepper and it is a large style, almost bell style pepper. I'll take you over to the plant right here real quick. That has a really unique flavor to it. A long time ago, you can see them, they're red. They usually start out like a lilac purple. It's hard to explain, but these ones have been on the vine for a while. We want to save as many seeds on this kind. It's a bell style pepper, but it's a lilac bell and has a really unique, almost radishy kind of pepper spice flavor to it that some people may find is one of their favorites, but is also, I think, most people might find is not in their top type of sweet peppers. For example, there's the Jimmy Nardello and the lipstick. There's some really excellent sweet peppers that might have a better flavor to this. But I want to tell everybody a secret about this pepper real quick. We had grown it years ago, and it was probably about 6 years ago after our second or third season growing it. And there was a pepper that ripened on the vine out here. It was one pepper. It had gotten red. It had eventually had so much sunlight saturation that they can get dark, almost like maybe like a lipstick can get a little bit, lipstick pepper can get dark too. But this pepper that I had eaten, this Oda, was nearly black. Every one of the seeds we keep planting come from that same one right there. But I'll take you inside and tell you a little bit more about it. This is the Oda pepper. You can see them as wedges or possibly even a little bit stunted. I do have a suspicion that they may have been some genetics from the lilac bell pepper. But this is the Oda pepper, August 20th of 2024. Take you inside and we'll take a closer look. Catch you guys in just a second. Love you. All right, as you can see up close, we do have some wrinkling on this one right here. So we are going to open them all up, make sure that the seeds look like they're viable seeds and maybe the pepper hasn't sent too far along. What I want to say about this pepper though is about 6-7 years ago, it was the second or third season that we had grown this pepper. One had ripened out in the vine, and I learned to leave them on there ripen as long as you could to be able to get the best flavor out of it. Some people may not like that radishy kind of flavor that might come from these, but when you let them ripen, that part of it goes away. But what I would like to say is the one that I was talking about that it grew 6 or 7 years ago had been left out there on the vine until it turned almost black, and I brought that pepper in. I don't think I did a video on it. I think I was just sitting down and trying it by itself, and it was the very best pepper I have ever eaten. I know the Jimmy Nardello is my favorite for flavor. I've never been able to capture that same memory from that moment. But when I had eaten it, it almost made me feel like the sun had almost given an anthocyanin kind of flavor to it, which is the substance that makes blackberries like that, and it makes some fruits and vegetables have like a purple or indigo black color more than anything else like that. But it's called anthocyanin, and I don't know if it has that in it or not. I'm not sure what it was. I know that I really love this pepper sweet. It's just a big pepper. It's grows a lot better for us than a bell. We have problems in bells and containers, and I think that might be why the wedge shape for us looks a little bit better. Like I was saying, it does come in a shape that is a little more blunt, almost like it's maybe only 5 or 6 generations out from when we originally got the seeds and we've been growing, or it may be like a phenotype in our yard that's kind of developed a certain thing. But the one that I had tried several years ago that I've always been chasing that same memory of, tasted, it was almost like eating a pepper blackberry. It was super good. That memory sticks in my head. I'm pretty sure part of that's nostalgia, but in that moment trying out an Oda pepper, it became hot peppers or sweet peppers, all peppers together. Nothing compares to that. Since then, the Oda probably stands in my top 4 or 5 for flavor. But it wouldn't probably be in my top 3, like the Jimmy Nardello, the lipstick. Those are 2 of my very favorite sweet. And if I ever run into the flavor, we're going to try some of this one right here and chase the memory once again to see if I can get that same flavor out. So look at how good it looks.
It's still super crisp, even though they've been on the vine for a minute.
Yeah, and I feel like they might be a little bit juicier. Those little like pustules and stuff that are in there might have been a lot juicier if we had gotten it off a little bit earlier too, though. Very good stuff. Not the flavor that I got from that one a long time ago, though, but definitely an excellent, excellent pepper.
It is really sweet. I usually get a pungent flavor with these, so they're not my favorite, but this one doesn't have that pungent flavor. It's actually really sweet and refreshing.
Yeah, it's hard to explain the flavor of
Juicy.
these bell peppers. I always like, I always try to do comparisons because it's really hard for me to explain these things. And when we're doing these videos, I really want to try to give the best description. They make really, really nice pods. That flavor comes mostly out of them and makes it almost like a red bell pepper kind of flavor when it comes to the very top. Maybe a little bit more pungent than a normal red bell pepper from the store, for example. But the flavor, I could understand how some people may not like that flavor when it's still purple. Peppers are eatable on the vine at any stage of growth. That's why a lot of times jalapenos, when you see them, they're green. We have a couple jalapenos out there that they taste like jalapenos, regular jalapenos when they're green, but when they turn colors, they turn to different flavor profiles mixed with that jalapeno flavor. This one right here almost has a red bell pepper kind of sweet zing to it a little bit.
Yeah, it's really
When
good.
it's red like this and when it's purple, it almost tastes like you were taking pepper, like the spice pepper, and sprinkling it on there and then eating a red bell, or eating a, maybe not even a green bell. It doesn't really taste vegetably when it's under, but it is almost like taking a pepper or a plain flavored pepper and putting pepper spice on there, or maybe mixing it with almost a radish. I hate to call it bittering because to me, there is a bitter flavor that can come in quite a few peppers. We did one on a pepper called the Pippin's Golden Honey earlier this year that had a bitter flavor to it. That may have been our grow. It's not indicative of that pepper necessarily, but that's a more of a bitter pepper flavor when I'm referring to bitter. This one here, I wouldn't describe it as bitter. It's like almost like eating a piece of pepper and radish at the same time a little bit. I could understand how it would be a certain likable taste. I figure very few people would call it up in their favorites, but there is probably quite a few people that might specifically like that flavor profile in something. Like a lot of times, we usually lean, does it taste more vegetable or does it taste more fruit? That's how we kind of lean back and forth. This one is almost in its own category as hard to explain. It's almost like a root vegetable pepper maybe flavor.
I definitely like them and prefer them ripe. They are sweeter and they do taste more like a red bell pepper when they're ripe. But they're juicy, sweet, they don't have that bitter flavor. I think they would make great stuffed peppers. That's for sure. They have thick, thick inside. The skin is easy to chew. It's not like super chewy. It's overall a really good pepper.
We saw these on YouTube and a friend of ours growing them and got really, really excited about these peppers years ago. Then we spotted it about our local small town farm market. And I thought that they were really, really cool, and everything I had saw online about them was super cool. So I went and bought a bunch of them and brought them home and saved the seeds. They were still purple, and that was one of our early lessons about saving seeds, is making sure that the plants had ripened, because the entire thing of seeds was
Not viable.
not viable. A friend had heard about it, a good friend of ours, and had contacted me and asked if I wanted some of their saved seeds, and they sent them to us, and we've been growing from those seeds repetitively in the yard for the past about 7 seasons now, coming on 7 seasons now. Like I was saying, there was one season about 5 or 6 ago. There's a couple seasons in growing this. The pepper it got good light saturation. It was burgeoning really, really quick. I left it on the vine to make sure it was ripened, because we're always leaving these on the vine to make sure that they're ripened. It looks like it has tons of viable seeds.
Yeah.
But it's an excellent sweet pepper. It's really usable too. Its flavor isn't something that's necessarily super overwhelming like if you were to dice up a bell pepper in a salsa. It does have a unique flavor, but only when you're consuming a lot of it raw. Mixed into stuff, it works pretty well. And like I was saying, I think that these pods grow, this shape of pod seems to be doing better in our buckets and more productive. Whereas in you can kind of see a blunt shape on them too. All of ours are always coming out like this though, because we're saving seeds in generation after generation. It would be similar looking pods and kind of maybe develop some different shapes or a little bit of different flavor. But you know, a little sad it didn't meet up to that memory that I had of the Oda a long time ago. But I definitely will grow it again. I don't know why it was in that moment. I sat down and I was eating the pepper, and I'm like, it was probably one of the first experiences of eating a pepper that I said, this is a fruit. This isn't a vegetable. This is a fruit. And it tasted like juicy blackberries. I mean, this one's a little bit overdone, and I think that's where I might have missed my mark. Plus, they didn't get a lot of light saturation. But they make good for stuffing. They make good for dicing up into dishes. I don't think that they would make necessarily good pickles because they're kind of large, unless you were large jar pickling or something, or maybe even cutting them up in pieces. But really usable pepper, a really unique flavor, like I was explaining, like radish or pepper shaked on them. We did notice the Oda Pino, which is a cross between one of these and a jalapeno pepper, can kind of similar have that. It's almost, I don't know, if I've never eaten that I remember the Lilac Bell. There's one called the Lilac Bell that seems a really similar color to this and might be some sort of like ancestor genetic share, but really excellent stuff. I'll take you outside for one last look at the plant. We're trying to keep our videos down. Sorry, super happy this made the yard. In comparison, this is my hand right here, so these pods are a few inches. And really excited to have this. It's become a staple in a yard, almost like a good old-fashioned type that is like a good friend that keeps coming around every single season and shows up. We save seeds on it each time and try to get it to evolve. You can see how dark it is, and that darkness increases if it got more light saturation on it. So really excited. Take you outside for one last look. Catch you guys in just a second. Love you. All right, August 20th of 2024, and really excited to have this one make the yard. Always want to specify none of our grows are indicative of what you can grow. We super crowd. You check this out right here. This is our pepper wall. We also had to move them into tufts, and we have to constantly prune to try to get light saturation. In perspective, the Oda is this one right here. Clear crammed back into the corner. A couple of the pods were down here, so they didn't get as much light saturation as I'd like, and then one was crammed back there. If you can see, the branch comes right up here and is actually crammed behind some other ones. This is also pretty good perspective right here too. This is a dark, almost like it's ripening color. Let me show you the Oda Pino real quick. I think I have some more of the lilac colored pods on there. Let me see. Yeah, that's the Oda Pino right there. That's generally the color the pods stay for a really long time. They come out almost like a yellowish, but they immediately start turning that lilac purple color. That one's got Oda Pino genes and the color of the Oda Pino in it. But really strong plant. We're really excited about this one every time it's in the yard. Like I was saying, it might not be the flavor that everybody's into with that style of pepper, but it is a good replacement for a bell pepper, and one that we are super excited to grow. You can see it's growing up in here back. So like I was saying, none of our grows are indicative. This one right here could have really done better to be crowded, and it's one that would also do better as a single plant. As you can see, there's two plants in here. This one's just stunted because of the overcrowding and not enough light. This one actually stretched out in order to reach more of the light. So that's our bad. You know, if you give it better light and a better situation, it grows like a power plant, almost like a bell pepper would grow, except a little bit more of a power plant for a container. So it makes a good alternate to a bell pepper. It has a unique flavor, one that I'm really into, maybe Angel's not into as much, and I feel like some people would really like that. Maybe lean a little more vegetable than fruit. When they do get ripe though, they get a little bit like of a tart sweetness to them and a lot of that radishy bitterness kind of flavor goes down. But really excited to grow it. August 20th of 2024. It's the Oda pepper. Love you guys, and I will catch you next time. Missed the dream this time. I'll get it next time. Love you guys. There you go, seeded and diced up for saving. We're going to go ahead and freeze these so we can use them. We got some more starting out there, but not bad for something you can store for a long time. We do freeze a lot of our peppers, pickle them, or dry them. So peppers are really, really cool. There's several different ways you can use them to save them for a lot longer, maybe than say tomatoes, for example. But really, really like peppers. It's the Oda pepper. Great stuff. Love you guys.